I'm Gina Ross, and I'm the founder and president of the International Trauma Healing Institute. ITI is an international institute that's based in Los Angeles and in Israel. I can see ITI being the Red Cross of the mind. The task of ITI is to inform and educate the public about trauma, its cost, its symptoms, and also how to cure it and how to prevent it. Trauma is actually when time does not heal. And trauma is when feeling bad feels right and there is no hope or understanding that it can be different, that we can heal. Traumatic events are occurrences of everyday life. Everybody goes through traumatic events in their lives. Most of us are able to cope on our own, but at least 20% of the population cannot do it by themselves. They are marked by trauma and they need help. 20% of the global community, that's a lot of people. The new understanding of trauma that ITI brings to the table is truly revolutionary. Trauma is in the body. It's actually the encounter of a specific traumatic event with a person's specific nervous system at a specific time. The same person could respond differently at different times to the same traumatic event. People often ask what kind of traumas do we treat? All types of traumas. Whether it's loss, whether a surprising, upsetting event that we were not able to cope with, or rape, or incest, or war. What's really important is what happens to the nervous system when the person goes through a traumatic event. If we lose our ability to function and to respond properly, then we are traumatized. To prepare our body to respond to the danger and to be able to flee or to fight, a huge amount of energy is produced in the body. And when we're successful at it, this energy is used up. And then our nervous system comes back to normal, to homeostasis. But if we encounter a danger and we try to fight or flee and we cannot succeed, then we go into another way of response, another survival response, the freeze response. That is also very functional when we need it. But under the freeze response, the stress hormones are coursing in the body and the energy is not being used up. And if we do not release that energy, then it becomes traumatic symptoms later. So trauma really is about stuck energy in the body. The stuck energy becomes all kinds of symptoms in our body-mind and our emotions. We can have problems with our appetite, with our digestion, with our sleep, with our heartbeat, with our pulse. Everything can get dysregulated. Then our thinking gets compromised. It's foggy, it's confused. We adopt negative belief systems and we get very easily polarized. We see everything in black and white. People suffering from trauma also self-medicate and develop all kinds of addictive behaviors. So how do we release this stuck energy in the body? Well, that's also what's revolutionary about the tools that we're using. ITI just finished the research showing how effective somatic experiencing is to treat PTSD. Somatic experiencing, also called SE, was created by Dr. Peter Levine and introduced in the Middle East in 1999 by ITI. Somatic experiencing is used to treat trauma by professionals, deep trauma and chronic PTSD also. The Ross model uses Emotionaid, which is a version of somatic experiencing and other techniques that lay people can use on the spot, anytime, anywhere, everywhere. We are speaking the language of the body, and the language of the body is the language of sensations in the body. If we start thinking what's happening at the level of the body, there are all kinds of tight, constricted, tense sensations in our body. And the miracle is this: if we focus on the sensations in our body, that energy will get released by itself. We don't have to do anything else but notice. However, there is something special about it. We have to notice one sensation at a time. If we notice too many sensations at a time, we get overwhelmed and we go dive even deeper into the trauma. But if we focus on one sensation at a time, we're recovering our natural ability to function, our natural ability to cope. We call it the healing vortex, that capacity inherent that we're born with to be able to cope and to heal trauma. It's so simple and so organic. And we do it a little bit at a time. We make sure not to overwhelm the system. It's a very compassionate tool. The Ross model addresses 10 social sectors: the military, the educational field, the psychology field, the medical field, the clergy, diplomats, NGOs, first responders, the justice system, and the public at large. Each one of them suffers from specific traumas and have specific steps that they can take in order to heal. But we need to take it to every sector, a pilot project for every sector. We need to be able to distribute the books in every sector. And then every sector will institutionalize the learning, the information, both of trauma, its impact in symptoms and healing, into their own delivery training systems. We have a pilot project in the hospital. Once that project is finished, we'll be able to take it to all the hospitals in Israel and then all the hospitals around the world. Trauma can also affect a whole nation. Collective trauma is actually a group or nation operating from fear and anger and revenge. And this narrative is passed on through the culture, through the media, through the educational system, through policies of the government. There's a breakdown of the social institutions that keep a country, a group, or a nation functioning. The institutions of law and order, the institutions of justice, the institutions of healing, the institutions of education. They all become at the service of the trauma vortex. The most important thing about the Ross model is that if we bring healing at a national and international level, at a global level, we can help diminish violence in the world. A healed public, a healed nation is ready for peace. For a balanced world where people are compassionate and caring and communicating with each other, healing trauma is essential. And now it's possible to do it at global levels. Please join ITI and donate to help us in our mission to heal trauma around the world and diminish violence. Your donations will help us expand our global outreach with our research, our marketing, our trainings, our facilities, developing a body of volunteers, and taking this information all over the world. Thank you for helping us.